So I'm going to start admitting this. Why you turned off your camera, my girl?
She's switching.
Oh, you're switching over. Okay, we're letting in. Let me pin you, beautiful ladies, so that we have that. All right, let's get started.
All
Hello,
right.
hello, everybody. Let me get my notes on Miss Roxanne because you had sent me your bio, but I had to Google you as well, even though I come to you every month or whatever it is, every 6 weeks. But Roxanne is here with us today. We are, I don't know why Natalie has moved over here, but we'll get her in here. Um, we have you as a special guest today, and we're talking hair, which is, I think, it is a very important topic when we talk about hair and menopause. So let me give a little quick bio on you, and then we're just going to jump straight in since we only have the hour. So, owner, of course, of Roxanne, not Roxanne's, right? Just Roxanne,
That's Roxanne.
Roxanne, but everybody knows you as Roxy, where we, Natalie and myself, also go to look fabulous and feel fabulous. We get Natalie over here now. Here we go, Nat. All right. So Roxanne went to university and got her degree in psychology, which I did not even know that. I mean, I'm sure you've told me, but it didn't register psychology in Canada. But then pursued your passion for hair after that, and you've been a hairstylist for 22 years. All right? That's amazing.
2 years.
What I love what you told me was that, well, I think I Googled this part. I'm not sure if you told me. Did you started your career cutting your friends' bangs in the bathroom at school?
In prep school.
Oh my God, I love that. And
Yeah.
opened your first salon in 2008. Amazing. Love it, love it, love it. So today we're going to talk about hair and menopause, midlife, having fabulous hair. So we're going to get started straight into it. And first, as I was talking with you, Roxanne,
Yes,
your
ma'am.
hair looks gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, it's
Gorgeous.
very gorgeous. I'm a hairstylist.
So let's get into that. All right, thinning hair. We know menopause, thinning hair is a major thing. Hair loss, thinning.
You
Of
love
course,
the density, all of
yes,
that.
yes. So let's start with some ways. Well, with the reasons, I think we know, but if you want to touch on a little bit on that and ways that we can support our healthy hair that we have during this time.
Okay, well, I mean, it's the loss of, you know, estrogen and progesterone that really causes hair loss during perimenopause, into menopause, postmenopause. So basically, the with losing that stuff or hair follicles shrink, cause thinning, the density of the hair goes, it becomes very fragile, brittle. Yes.
Mm.
And at that point, or androgens or male hormones, they kick in, right? So, you start to have, the thinning around the hairline and right at the top of our head. And I mean, it's not only in perimenopause, women generally at different stages of our life that
Mhm.
we can have changes in our hair. So you can have changes in your hair during your teenage years, like 15, 16, when the hormones are going all crazy as well. In our perimenopause, which is in late 30s, 40s, and then postmenopause as well.
So
Um,
basically, we are on a hair journey most of our lives then.
And we are. We're always, it's always something about hair. The hair is either too short, it's not thick enough, it's too dry. We try doing all kinds of things, relaxing, texturizing, perms, you know.
Yeah.
Um, we always want our hair to look good because, especially in our society, it's, your hair is your crowning glory, right?
Hmm.
And it's always the long hair, yeah? So,
Hmm.
but in your 40s, it is distressing for most women. If your hair is thinning, and
Hmm.
you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm seeing bald spots, I'm seeing, all these patches, but there are things you can do. right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the more you look at it and the more you see it, is the more stressed out you go.
And the more,
And then that's gonna cause, which that's the origin of why I actually cut off my hair. You remember? I used to have long hair and it was just dropping out. And I said, no, but this is causing more stress than I'm really caring for.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
not, but for women who can't wear short hair, I mean, you look gorgeous with short hair, but if I were to do what you would
oh,
do,
thank you.
oh Lord, we would have to wear a hat. What do women do if they can't chop off their hair to hide the bald spots and all of that? What do we do?
Well, there are lots of different things, and it takes time and it takes consistency, right? There is minoxidil, which is
Okay.
proven and it works, right? You have to 5% minoxidil, right? You put it comes in either foam or liquid form, and you just add it to, your thinning areas. You don't put it all over your whole head, right? But you have to be consistent every day.
And
Every
that's
day.
just regular minoxidil. That would be like Rogaine, right?
Yeah. So Rogaine is a brand, but regular minoxidil, 5%. So you have 2.5% and 5%. 2.5%, it works, but 5% is
And that doesn't cause any damage, or I mean, that would be helping.
it is healthy. It's fine. It's fine. It's not oral, it's just topical. So it really does. You usually see results within 2-3 months.
Okay. Well,
But
I'm going
it's
to get some of that. And I go, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
being consistent with it, right? And then you have
Wait, before you move off of the minoxidil, is that just in the patches, or if you had general thinning hair, would you use it all over?
well, if you have general thinning hair, you can use it all over. Definitely.
Okay.
But if it's in just the usual spots where you have thinning, just use it in the thinning spots, right? And you have to be careful, just put it in the spots. Don't put it on your face because hair can grow on your face. Yeah.
Oh, dear God. That's a whole other problem. That's a
That's
whole
a
other
whole
show that we would
problem
have to have.
that would have to be.
Okay, so
Exactly.
with the minoxidil, is there a woman's versus a men's, or is it just a one thing?
They have it marketed as women's and men's, right?
Okay.
But it's basically the same thing. Men's, I think, have it's a little stronger, but I do recommend a 5%.
5%. Making a note of that. Okay, what else can we do?
Well, we can, or diet.
Nat
For
can
one,
speak to that too, yes.
or diet. She has spoken to me on that a lot. And not only for the hair or your skin, everything that, goes dry. You diet, exercise, you take your supplements, right? There
Well,
we
let's
go
talk a
again now.
little bit about the supplements, which I love. Natalie, of course, will speak to the herbal stuff. What's things like Nutrafol and all of these? Do you believe in those? Do they work? What's your take on those?
I've seen them work. I mean, it doesn't work for everybody, it's not one size fits all. But Nutrafol works, Viviscal. There's one that's called hers.
I just saw that this morning.
Yes, there's one that's called hers. I have a client that started using it. I mean, I've never heard of it before. I mean, I learn a lot behind the chair from my clients as well. And I haven't gotten a full review on that one yet because she started not too long ago. So we'll see. But there is a whole wide range of supplements as well as, topical stuff that you can use on scalp. Because, some people are just not, don't want to take oral medication.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So many concerns about that.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes you need to, because you need to balance your hormones. So, you go to your doctor and they'll prescribe what they need to prescribe for you and, take it from there. So sometimes both, it's both, oral and the topical, you got to work it out.
Mhm.
Right. You see, what a lot of people don't realize, and this is where, regardless of what we're talking about, we always have to come back to diet and lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because if you're not giving your body the nutrients that it needs to build itself, right? We don't born with a head of hair and it lasts the whole lifetime. We're constantly making and pushing out the hair, right? So we have to have the nutrients that we need to get it done.
Exactly.
And we have to not have the CRAP that we don't need, that takes away from our ability to get it done effectively, you know? So we always want these quick fixes, but the basis, just like foundation, we always have to be eating a healthy diet and having good exercise in our life. It's we can't avoid it.
Yeah.
It's necessary
No.
for everything, you
And
know?
stress reduction, I mean, which is exercise as well. You just need, and meditation. We have to find those different things. But as you go along, you learn. But sometimes we can actually be a little proactive as well.
Yeah, yeah.
We know what causes certain things, and we're getting to a certain stage and point in life. You just try and adapt to those,
Yeah.
the good things,
So,
right?
Natalie may be able to answer this more, but you probably know Roxanne. So if somebody doesn't want to take a Nutrafol or something that's marketed then, if you will, for that, is there like a specific supplement that one could take that's on its own? I don't know, like biotin or something else that is just targeted for that? Because I don't know, I find sometimes the Nutrafol and all of these, I used to take Nutrafol and it never worked for me. I mean,
Right.
it did something, but it didn't do what it needed to do.
Yeah.
But it also had a lot of other stuff in it. Would it have been better that I just take straight biotin or something naturally that is just targeted just for hair?
So, it's a great question. I would always recommend that people be on a good multivitamin to begin with. And I'm going to define a good multivitamin as something that is clean and that it's triple tested so that it doesn't have any contaminants, right? That it's a product that is engineered to be bioavailable, because there's a lot of products on the market that you're just taking them and making expensive urine and feces. Like, it's passing through you and it's not absorbing it straight up, right? So, which is one of the reasons that I love the brand Thorn, because and they're not that much more expensive, but the way that they formulate their products, you're gonna absorb it. So a good multivitamin is foundation, right? Good vitamin joining up with proper nutrition. So I'm talking about no junk food, no preservatives, no colorings, no additives, and as natural as possible. So yeah, don't laugh at me, Roxy, because Roxy hear this all the time. You know,
All the I take
eat,
my Thorn.
exactly. Eat your fruits and vegetables, right? That's every single color in a fruit or a vegetable is a different antioxidant and a different phytonutrient, right? So we need to be eating the rainbow and not Skittles. That's not what I'm talking about when I say eat the rainbow, right? But your purple cabbage, your green cabbage, your yellow carrots, eat the rainbow, eat your greens. Um, Manage your stress, like Roxanne is saying. And if after doing that for a couple of months you're still noticing, then what I would recommend that we do is test, right? Test and see, because you can just jump in and take biotin, right? But what if your biotin levels are okay? What if you don't need biotin?
Okay.
What if,
Yeah.
what if that's not the issue?
Okay.
So there's like the things that everybody can take. A good multivitamin, your omega-3 fatty acids, your magnesium, your D and your K, straight up, right? After that, and your collagen.
We're going
Collagen,
to touch on that when you're done. We're touching on collagen. That's a big boy.
Yes.
that's a big one. And then after that, no, we're going to be looking at specific things, So do you need biotin? Yes or no? Do you need vitamin E? Yes or no? Because you don't want to be taking something that you don't need. There's so much to take, right?
Yeah.
And you'll hear people say anecdotally, oh, I took this and it was good. Yeah, it was good for them. But how do
Okay.
you know it's going to be
Sorry.
good? I do, right? So I always recommend test and ascertain what your body is needing. And we actually offer that kind of testing. And it's a wild eye opener. Like your hair is not going to grow properly if you have mold contamination. Forget about menopause, right? I wish we could. So we need to test for all of those things first. Your hair is not gonna grow properly if you have heavy metal.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I mean, because a lot of women, we just dive into social media plans. Of course, once you start scrolling, it's going to give you everything that you should be taking. You need to be rubbing, scrolling, doing all kind of thing. And it's like, at some point, we need to know what is really going to work. Because when you're doing four different things, you really don't know what's actually working.
Girl, if I followed social media self-care routine, I'd never leave the house. Like,
It's insane, especially with menopause that we're talking about. That's all that comes up on my phone is, oh, you got to do this for hair, you got to do this for your skin, you got to do this for your. Oh my goodness gracious, it's too much.
it's a lot. It's a
I
lot.
tell my clients, because, I see varying levels of hair loss. And, I would say, okay, well, try, as you said, Natalie, your multivitamins, add some folic acid or whatever else. But when it is a lot of hair loss and really concerning, I tell them to go and get tested, go to the doctor and get your blood test done, see what levels are off, because sometimes it can just be one little thing that's off, right?
Mhm.
And it could be even more than just menopause. It could be thyroid. It could be many
Exactly.
things that you're taking,
Yeah.
which causes hair loss. I mean, your hair is, when anything happens, your hair and your skin feels it first, right? It's just goes. And it's the last thing to come back. But, there is hope. You don't have to, you know, hair grows and hair will grow back.
Grow. But as you said, we just need to find what it is because I mean I know certainly for a lot of us women at this time we blame menopause. Oh, I'm in menopause, therefore that's why my hair is thing.
I
But
was
there's actually the opposite. I know some women who are in menopause who have a full head of hair, and I'm like, how the heck how does that happen?
totally
So,
opposite. They have more hair than when they were younger.
and that is an upside for some women with menopause is that they have beautiful hair, and it's everybody but I think it speaks back to your point that really check out what's going on because it could be other genetic things, correct? I mean, there's other reasons why you lose your hair.
Lots of other things why you can lose your hair. So it's instead of trying to guess on spell times, if you have minimal hair loss, okay, you can use a minoxidil, you can take your Nutrafol, you can do all of those things. But if it's really drastic, like you see big, lots of clump coming out daily, no, you need to go to the doctor. You need to go and get tested. You need to figure out what's going on before,
Okay.
and just use your, especially with thinning hair and just notice just and dryness, use your hair oils, use your rosemary oil, use jojoba, and just massage the scalp, and because you need to stimulate your scalp as well when you're having
Oops, let me just mute. So, colors and treatments and stuff like that. I mean, when we're having this hair thinning or loss, I mean, I know for me it was a concern that I was like, should I cut back? Should I not be coloring my hair? Doing all of these things? What do you tell women who are going through this?
well, I mean, you should definitely scale back on doing too much treatments. Like, you would color, you would highlight, you would relax, you would do all of these things. I'm not saying that you need to have gray hair, right? But don't do too many things at one time. If you're just going to color your roots, fine. Don't color and highlight. And as often, it's the time at which you do it too, as well. So, you have to talk to your hairstylist, talk about what you should be doing or what you can do, right? Because your hair is very fragile in a state. Your hair gets a lot thinner. The follicle, the strands get a lot thinner. So it's more susceptible to damage. So you just have to be gentle. Yeah.
Be gentle.
Just
So does that mean that you can't color and relax at the same appointment, or you shouldn't color it and relax it together ever?
At the same appointment, because I know some
Oh,
people, do that. So space it out. You relax.
Okay.
Say, like in 2 weeks, you can, do your color. Yeah. So you just try and find ways to go around it.
and then
Yeah.
you mentioned taking care with like oils and whatnot, right? Can you talk to us a little bit more about that? Are we oiling the strands of hair or the root or?
You're oiling the root. You're oiling your scalp, right? You don't need, because eventually it will get all the way through your hair. When you brush it or comb it, the oils will, so you don't need to soak your whole head in oil.
Right.
Get it after. You don't have to have it running down your face, none of that.
Right. Okay.
Tip 2 is to take, the facial rollers.
Yes.
Rollers? Yeah. Just use a facial roller before you apply your oil.
Oh,
Massage.
to stimulate the
Yeah. So
ovulation.
it stimulates the hair follicle. It gets the blood moving back still, and put your oils in, and just give yourself a little head massage. Put your oils, massage it. That's it. You don't have to get it.
Yeah.
Just little things, right? Even at home remedies, old time remedies that you used to see your grandmother do. Use aloe vera.
Yes.
Get the aloe vera, blend it up, add some argan oil, and just rub it through your hair, let it sit for an hour, and then you shampoo.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there are lots of little things that you can do and even do at home.
Yeah.
But just be consistent or make it a routine, like a weekly routine when you're doing your deep conditioners.
Put it on leg shaving day.
Huh?
Put it on leg shaving day.
Yes, exactly. You just do everything. So you do what you have to do, rinse it off. Little things do help. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, because it won't change if you do nothing. If you just complain, oh my gosh, my hair is thinning, this is what's happening to me, you just
Maybe encourage the kids to play in your hair.
Yeah.
With your partner to play in your hair.
and just stencil.
Yeah, to stimulate that blood flow.
Yeah, and just to take your take your supplements and do all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Supplement your diet, exercise, stress reduction, all the things we need to be doing.
Good sleep.
Yeah. Definitely. So let's talk a little bit about collagen because Natalie touched on that earlier. I've been taking collagen, marine collagen for years, and I would have to say it's definitely helped my skin and skin and nails. Hair, I can't say for me personally that it's been like, oh my God, a game changer. So
Right.
what do you recommend as far as collagen? Should women be taking collagen? I mean, their coffee or whatever. I mean, do you think that it's good for women with hair loss and thinning or not really?
You're
What do you
asking
think?
me
I'm
or
asking
Roxanne?
Roxy.
I thought it was Natalie.
Oh, well, both of you. Either of you can answer.
I mean,
What
I
do you
take
notice,
collagen.
Roxanne? Do you notice any difference with women that take collagen?
Do you, Roxy?
I didn't hear you. Sorry,
Do you like women that you know that take collagen? Have you seen a change in their hair while on collagen?
I notice definitely hair and skin with the collagen, right? Collagen, when they take folic acid, what's the other one? Vitamin D as well.
Vitamin D. Yeah. And D is really good for bone health and for your immune system. So you see, the thing is too that collagen is going to help with skin elasticity. And remember that your scalp is skin. So the action of collagen acting on the skin, the scalp, is going to help reduce hair loss and promote hair health. That's what some of the studies show us. Also, collagen is rich in something called proline. Because remember that collagen is it's a protein, and proteins are made up of amino acids, and amino acids is what our body uses as building blocks, right? So proline is one of those amino acids that's really important for the development of keratin, which is the protein that
Right.
gives hair its strength and structure. So yes, collagen would promote keratin. Keratin is necessary for good, healthy hair. And just overall, collagen is built of amino acids, and we need all the other amino acids as well for good, healthy hair. So the studies do show that taking collagen will help. Now, you can take collagen in the form of a supplement, but when we talk about Granny's home remedies, don't forget that Granny used to boil down chicken foot and chicken bones
Right.
and met. So whereas it's convenient to take collagen in the form of powders that we can add to things, we can just incorporate more collagen into our diet, right? Boil your own chicken broth to make your soup, or use that broth to boil your quinoa, or whatever you're doing. Boil your bones. Use that stock from those bones to use in other things. Like collagen is great for your hair and your skin, and also the lining of your intestines. So it's multifunctionally awesome.
Okay.
That's good to
Yeah.
know. I mean, the collagen part, I mean, as I said, I've been taking collagen for a long time, and I mean, I would never come off of it. I think there's definitely a difference. I think that's really, really, really important. So that's good. So what else would you like to share with us, Roxy? Because you're full of good information on hair. So share with us.
No, I just, it's with your hair, it's a journey. And I know when your hair looks good, you feel good. When your hair doesn't look good, you don't feel good. I mean, so it's really, for me, you just take the time, talk to your hairstylist too. If you're having issues, just try and talk to your hairstylist, go and check, what's happening. So check with your doctor, do your tests, do all of those things. But, just be gentle with your hair, right? First of all. And just, I would say, adapt a routine with your oils, with your massaging, with your shampoos. Also, your shampoos, you should try and stick to a sulfate-free shampoo.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. So it's definitely gentle on the hair. It doesn't strip all the natural oils. Use good conditioners. Yeah. And good conditioners don't have to be, super expensive either, right? And one that's tailored for what you need.
Okay.
Right.
What about treatments? Do you have like specific treatments, like women come in and say they want like like a steam treatment or any of these things that can help with
we
that?
have tons different treatments that are tailored for what you need. For if you have dry hair, if you have well, I wouldn't even say thinning hair, because that's but mostly
that's internal.
Over damaged hair, we do have that, and I do recommend you do a treatment if your hair is in distress every other week, right? And at least 3 treatments in total, and you should see. And they have all these brands, I won't call any names, right? That really work,
What these treatments you talk about? I mean, like for the women that are maybe not in Jamaica and that don't come to you, if they were to go to their stylist, what would they ask for?
They can ask for even protein treatments, definitely. They have a good treatment to do for dry hair is actually Botox, because Botox
really
Botox seals the cuticle of your hair.
Okay.
So the whole treatment, so it seals the cuticle of your hair and makes your hair nice and shiny again. So that is something I do recommend if you have dry hair. Dry, frizzy, uncontrollable, unruly hair.
I didn't know that. I always thought Botox was like what we did with the keratin. And of course, when they do the keratin, you smell that's just a whole other
Yeah, but
avenue.
it is different from keratin.
It
And
is.
have they have changed quite a bit over the years. Before, the keratin, it was smelling so awful. You had used so much heat. You still have a sense with the keratin, but not as bad. It's come a far way. But the Botox, it's like a mega super conditioner.
I did not know that. I seriously did not know that. And how often would you recommend doing Botox? Because I had it along the lines of a keratin.
Like every 3 months. Every 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 to 3 months. It's not Botox doesn't straighten your hair. It just gives it manageability, as I say, so it seals the cuticle. So, moisture doesn't attack your hair as much, right? And it makes it really nice and super shiny.
I love Botox. I mean, that's what I do as well by you, and I just love it. But I did not realize it doesn't actually straighten your hair. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It's if you do it properly, it's not supposed to straighten your hair because you have to
Okay.
manage the heat that you use. And everybody's hair texture. So the heat that's used on your hair, I wouldn't use on my hair.
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah. And then, you have the bonding treatments, you have acidic bonding, you have you have like the Olaplex treatments, which you can use at home, Redkin acidic bonding, which is also you can buy the at-home ones as well. And most of the big brands do have their own treatments, fatty acid treatments for your hair as well.
That would help with moisture and building
That would,
back.
yeah, yes, and dry, frizzy hair, but it's not going to help with the growth.
Yeah, well,
That's the
that's
monoxide.
the thing. That's a
That's the
minoxidil.
monoxide.
Okay, so it's a two-pronged approach then. It's definitely the inner work that we do as far as the supplements and all of that. But we also have the topical that would also help with growth.
Yes.
But then these treatments help to, as I started off by saying, supporting our healthy hair.
Nourishes the hair.
Nourishes the hair. Okay. That's very interesting. So there are different treatments that one can go in and okay. That's good to know.
It really should be decided, after you speak to your hairstylist and explain what is happening, they should be able to guide you as to what treatment to use. Because as I say, not one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
So even like a moisturizing treatment, what I would use in your dry hair would be different from what I would use in Natalie's dry hair, right? Because your hair is a lot thinner in texture than Natalie's. So Natalie's own will be thicker, but still dry.
Okay.
Still right. Right. So I know this now crosses the line between hairstyling and like what a dermatologist would do or a medical practitioner. But because scalp is skin, dermatologists do treat hair issues as well. And I'm vaguely aware, I don't know if you've seen much of it in your practice, that similar to the PRP facials that can be done, which is plasma rich platelets, that they do PRP treatments on the scalp.
Yes.
Again, to stimulate collagen and to stimulate circulation. Have you ever seen or have you come across clients of yours that have used that as a treatment? I know it's a little bit out of the scope of, it's not something like you're going to be offering in your salon, but have you seen it with people?
I've had a few clients who have tried it as well, and it does work. It works for some more than it's worked for others. Some will come in and I did this and it's a waste of my money, and in others, you see good hair growth. The hair grows right back in balding spots. So there are just so many things. You have the red light therapy as well.
Oh yes, I read about that. Tell me about that. How does that work?
Therapy. So it's actually red light, which stimulates same thing. That stimulates the follicle. So instead of, so it allows it to open up again because our hair follicles get smaller right? So the red light helps it, increases blood flow, and our follicles get bigger again, and hair starts growing nice and thick. So you have the red light that you can buy in many different forms. You can buy some on Amazon, and then you have caps, so full helmets, which, I mean, it ranges from like $50 to like $3,000. Yeah, so just where you fall. Yeah.
There's so many options. This is what the thing is, Roxy, which is good for us because back in the day, there was never any options. But I think now we have so many options. But as you're saying, we don't need to try them all. We just
We
try.
just
Yeah.
we just try. But it's hard not to, because you would just get so distressed about hair loss, right? So you grasp at all kind of things, and then when things don't work, you're like, it's not working, I'm gonna be bald. But it's just calm down. We just have to calm down. I mean, and then you just take it from there.
Let's take it from there. Let's talk a little bit about
Right.
HRT.
Some things you just really just have to try. You won't know if it works unless you try.
Well, that's the key. And as I said earlier, if you try 15 things, you're not going to know what works. And then you cannot sustain doing 15 things every morning. As Natalie says, you won't leave the house because you're doing so many different things. So let's talk a little about HRT, because as we know, in menopause, all of the unbalanced hormones and whatnot, women who go on HRT and their hormones are balanced.
They're here.
That's what I was going to ask you. What happens to a woman who's in HRT? Oh, I'm on HRT and I'm still having loss, or how does that work?
It's in both, right? Some women who have hair, and they go on HRT. I've seen hair loss, but for the majority of women, I noticed that their hair does grow back. There are a few that you see hair loss, but
But that could be what you were saying earlier of maybe it's a genetic thing. It's not your hormones are balanced, but you may have a thyroid issue or
right. Thyroid issue, you could be taking some other type of medication that causes these things. So
okay. Because a lot of women do say, oh, well, I'll just go on HRT and then that will solve all my hair problems. And as you said, that's not the answer.
It's
check your levels.
Check your levels, check it all, and even, some women who used to even complain, like, or they're doing this to their hair and doing that to their hair, and it used to be fine, and now it's all falling out, and it's the hairstylist's fault. It's your fault. When it's other things, it's the hormones, it's medication that you've taken, so.
And genetics, I think genetics plays a big role too.
Play a big role.
Big role in that.
One of my granddads, she had like major hair loss. She was bald, like a man. And I would always fret. I'd be like, please God, I pray, don't let that happen to me. I would just die. But it's genetics too.
It's a scary time for women. I mean, as you said, in menopause, I mean, so much change is happening in our bodies and our minds. But as you said, this is us. When we have hair, we feel beautiful. When we don't have hair, it's a big pill to swallow.
A big pill, and that's why I love the fact that a lot of the time on this show we speak to people about mindset and how to improve our mindset and how to do the mindset work. Because I don't know if you ladies saw the thing about Kate Moss. It was all over the internet this weekend, and Kate Moss is 50. We know Kate Moss to have been that twig back in the 80s and 90s, or the 90s, and she was always criticized for being too skinny. And now she's too old and too fat. There's nothing fat about her, by the way. Right? So society just has this evil view as it relates to a woman getting older. And, I tell my kids all the time, we can't control what happens in life all the time, but we can control our response. And it's advice that's really good for us at this time as well. there may be things that are within our control. There may be things that are without our control. But what can we do when these things start happening to make ourselves not feel horrible about it? Do we shave it off and wear a scarf?
Well, I think it's also research too, Nats. I mean, as you said, it is a mindset shift, but it's also research. Do your research, talk to your stylist, talk to your nutritionist, go and
Right.
have your levels tested. It's just
Right.
not, a lot of women love to just blanket it under, as I said earlier, menopause, but it's not always the evil thing that, because as I said, we know women who have beautiful heads of hair and they're going through menopause.
Everybody's different, and we know that, right? Everybody's different, and just do the things that you need to do, not
Yeah.
only for your hair, for your health. Eat well, stay hydrated, exercise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Filling up her tanks.
Right.
The brand Wow, that seems to have taken off like a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know you sent me something on Wow, and I do use some of Wow's products, but I've
Yes.
also heard that some of those products, if you use them all the time, like I think the shampoos or something, it can actually be damaging to the hair. Do you know anything about that?
I no,
No.
I wouldn't.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that. I've never really heard that. I mean, you hear a lot of things along the way about different treatments and different, but I've never heard that. But I
Good. Good.
like their products. I like their shampoos. I like their treatments. They have great thickening agents for thinning
Yeah.
hair, right? So they have that. I think that's the one I sent you. It's uh
Let's see if I can find it. It was
here I go, forgetting.
yeah. Well, that's the menopause brain.
It's right there.
Yep, it's a classic example. But yes, it did have some thickening stuff that, I mean, literally when she put it in and blew it out, it was like, now I know that's a lot on social media and they hype that stuff up. But for women who need a little extra
Volume.
oomph, volume, I think that's a good thing. Now I had asked you once about, the what they call them, halos and stuff that they put in their hair.
Extensions, right?
Extensions. Let's go into that because a lot of women think that's the end and be all of it, but you're saying it can actually damage what
Yes,
is
what you
is
have.
in there.
Yeah. So, extensions are great, right? I'm not saying they're fabulous, right? And again, it's just depending on if your hair can manage it or not. So clip-ins, I think, are probably the safest ones because those are the ones that have the little clip and you just stick it in and it causes less damage to your hair. Yeah. So you have the tape-ins as well,
Mhm.
and you have the sew-in weaves. Yeah. But
Okay.
couldn't do that, Nikki.
Well,
Couldn't do that.
I definitely wouldn't have the mindset for that or the thing, but the clip-ins, I think the clip-ins will be good.
The clip-ins could definitely work for you.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are lots of that you can fill in your hair so you have the volume. There's so many different types.
Well,
And
you see, I
again,
think that's beautiful for us in this stage to have that option to you're going out, you want your hair to look full and fabulous, and you don't have time to go to a hairdresser, so you clip them babies in.
and the wigs. I mean, the wigs are just awesome.
Yeah.
There are wigs that you see and you're like, wow, they're so natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's about mindset, as Natalie speaks to, is that, we don't have to suffer, we don't have to put up with it, we don't have to be this way, that there's so many options for us when we come to but you just have to start with the hairstylist and see because you don't want to be heading off to whatever is Sally's Beauty and buying all of these
Or
things and
I'm trying all kinds of things. Well, I mean, you have to try some things, but just be careful how you try things. Yeah,
yeah,
because some things can actually make it worse.
yeah. No, well, that's what's scary is that you don't want to make it worse when your hair is already thin and
Right.
wispy. You don't want to put anything in there that's gonna to make it
Damage it.
worse. Yeah, yeah,
I
definitely.
agree.
We had a guest here that said I recommend anyone visits an endocrinologist. Absolutely, yes. I feel like most doctors don't go into detail as much as they do for hormones. So again, definitely agree with that. It's really to go in and test your levels of that and really zone in on what it is
Mm-hmm.
that it because it may not be your hormones. It may not be your hormones that is causing this loss or the thinning, that it's something more sinister
Yeah,
that you have overlooked.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I do recommend all of those things. You know,
Okay.
just talk to your hairstylist, talk to your doctor. You know, if it's not too bad, you know, just try over the counter stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like, you know, your minoxidil, your Nutrafol, your Viviscal, you know, you try those things first. Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Let's see how it goes. And maybe a combination of things, you know.
Mm.
Just
I know
like
a
even
lot of women don't want to go for the tablet or the supplements because of that fear. But the beautiful thing is what you're saying is that even those Nutrafols and stuff, they have shampoos and
yeah, they do. And
topical.
you know, like Nutrafol, it's really it's just vitamins, you know. So that's what Nutrafol is. So even though it's oral, it's not pharmacy grade stuff, you know.
Right.
So I think it's okay for anyone to actually try that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's good to know, as I said, because some women do feel a little fearful around it. But maybe start with the topical part first and see if that sits with you or works. You know, as you said, even the Nutrafol stuff, but the minoxidil, I love the idea. I mean, I'm definitely going to go and check out the Rogaine because I definitely need it right here.
Yeah. Just get the minoxidil, use that, and then just use your roller.
I like
Use
the
your
ruler. I have something that has, you know, these little prongs in it, and then
perfect,
you just kind of
perfect.
do a thing like this. I don't know
Yes,
where the heck I got it. Maybe my daughters gave it to me. And you kind of just it feels nice on the scalp. So it's like you're giving your hair, you know, a little something, and that will help stimulate.
that will help stimulate. Then use your minoxidil.
Okay.
Go from there, and then once a week, try and use your oils, your
Mm-hmm.
rosemary, thyme oil. You have what else is another one? Onion extract is actually a good thing too. Um,
Really?
yeah. You just try using your different things. Do your deep conditioner while you're shaving your leg. Yeah,
Exactly. Leg shaving day.
just try those things, and eventually you will definitely see less dryness in your hair. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah,
Yeah, the moisture, I think for a lot of women, it's a big thing for them. It just gets this sort of wispy, dry.
dull look as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? It just looks dull, and even if you color it, it doesn't look vibrant. But yeah, and you just need to nourish your hair, and the hair Botox is really, really. It doesn't fix the problem, but it it does make your hair shiny, right? So
Yep.
it's not stop, the thinning hair and all of that. That's from within. Yeah, but
Mhm.
it does give the appearance of nice, soft, shiny
Mhm. No, I think that it starts from within. I mean,
hair.
that's what it does with, I mean, this is Natalie and I have spoken about this on all of our episodes. It comes in
Yeah.
what to do. We start within. We start with the vitamins, the exercising, the meditation, all of that, because we have to start within for us to be able to shine from the outside.
Definitely. I agree with that 100%.
That's the
Yeah.
bottom line. So for us to shine, whether it's your hair, your skin, your teeth, because we're going to be probably doing
Whatever.
an episode on the teeth,
Yeah.
because I read scarily that I think Natalie may have sent it to me as well, that menopause affects the teeth. Yes.
Everything, eh?
Yes. Well, remember, we have estrogen receptors in every cell of our body. So there is nothing on our body that is exempt from
Right.
menopause, from declining hormones or imbalanced hormones.
But we can fix it.
But we have solutions, but it starts from the inside where we work. So
Right.
people like Natalie, who talks about nutrition and teaches about health and all of that, talk to her, talk to your nutritionist go to your stylist, say, listen, what can I try? Because your stylist will know. You think, oh, I have dry hair. Your stylist will look at it and go, actually, your hair's not that dry, it's whatever.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And
Have a good consultation with your hairstylist, and talk about, what's happening with you, and even with your body. Because sometimes, you come and someone sits in front of me and you're like, okay, well, my hair is this, my hair is that, and I don't know why it's like this. Well, if you're, you just have to talk and find out about their lifestyle. That's how I do it. I talk
yeah.
to my clients, find out about their lifestyle, what's happening, what do they take, and we just go from there.
Well, I think that's good. Let's, in the last couple of minutes that we have here, eyelashes and eyebrows. Now that is affected, am I correct, by imbalanced hormones? Yes.
Because it's the hair. They fall
So
out.
obviously we can't put minoxidil on our eyes, but can you do that on your eyebrows?
I wouldn't do that.
Because I read somewhere where somebody said they tried to do that and there were some said, oh my God, I had the most fabulous eyebrows. I'm like, but then you're gonna spend money just having to wax these things to get
No,
them down.
I think that, no, that's too close to your eye.
Yeah.
Personally, I wouldn't take that chance.
Yeah.
But but I think there are other things.
Well, like the
That are
oils that you were just talking about, the rosemary oil and all of that, you can rub those on your eyebrows.
rub those on your eye. Some castor oil, argan oil, all
Yeah.
those oils. There are lots of great oils out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Castor oil is a big one.
one oil that I would say just be careful using is coconut oil. If you're going to use coconut oil in your hair, make sure it's really refined. So don't buy the coconut oil in the supermarket and put in your hair because it causes a lot of buildup on your hair because it's such a thick, dense oil that it will eventually make your hair dry and dull because it coats your hair shaft. So nothing good can get in because it's like this thick film. Even if you shampoo, it doesn't take it all off. So just make sure it's refined coconut oil if you're going to use coconut oil in your hair.
Refined coconut oil. But castor oil, and you said argan oil, rosemary oil.
Oil, thyme oil, jojoba oil.
Okay.
Peppermint is also really great at stimulating circulation and blood flow. It also helps to open up stuff. My caveat with peppermint oil is don't use it in the evening because peppermint oil is also very awakening. So it would be a good morning treatment. But not evening treatment because you may not be able to go to sleep and I can't figure out why you can't sleep.
So you would use the peppermint oil straight, Natalie, peppermint oil straight?
No, once you're getting into any of those essential oils like the rosemary, the thyme, the peppermint, you want to be diluting it in a carrier oil like the jojoba or the castor. Essential oils should never be used neat. They should always be diluted because they're very powerful and they're very volatile. So they will evaporate prior to being absorbed. So the carrier oil helps with absorption, which is why castor oil is an excellent carrier oil because castor oil has one of the highest absorbability rates of any of those topical carrier oils.
And castor oil is great for your hair and it's great for a lot of other things.
It's just very oily. It's just very thick and
yeah.
Yeah.
So you use it before you go shampoo, just an hour before you shampoo. And as I say, don't put it all over your hair. Put it on your scalp. Right?
Just go in there and do that.
Put it in an hour before you shampoo. Some people sleep with it on their hair overnight. If you can, yeah, you can do it. But it's good to use. It's a great product, great oil.
Awesome. Well, I think we've learned so much stuff here. I will definitely, Roxy, when I send out my replay email with with the recording, I'm going to put your contact information, obviously. That for anybody who doesn't know Roxanne, well, everybody in Jamaica knows Roxanne, but in case you don't know Roxanne, they can pop into you and have a consultation and you talk to them and just get started in getting that information as to what, because some of the things that we think is good for us, or we are doing, and oh my God, it works or it doesn't work. Sometimes
Yeah.
just speaking to somebody who is trained in this, you've been doing this for 22 years, you know exactly, you know what you're doing. I think is where we as women have the power to do that, to make the change, the choice to choose to change of what we want to do. So I think that that's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Nat, you have anything else you want to share before I close off? Or she gone off? Oh, she's probably gone off. Yes, I know she's on the road with her daughter, so she probably can't speak. So anything else you want to share, Roxy, before we go?
well, I mean, I'm here, as you say, if you're in Jamaica and you need to talk about it, just give me a call and we'll come in and have a consultation and we can figure it out. But thank you for having me.
Oh, you're a treasure to all of us here in Jamaica. You are great because you've been doing this a long time and you've gotten certainly I know Natalie and myself through many a journey with our hair. As women and their hair, it's always a journey, but especially now in menopause, it's even a scarier journey because of the unknown. I
It
think
is.
it's that scare of the unknown of losing the hair, where we're going. Oh my gosh. I mean, not only the hair on the head, but the hair all over. Because we didn't even touch on the hair on your arms or your legs. I mean, I know some women who no longer have to wax or no longer have to
I know.
shave their legs
It's
because
hard.
they've lost their hair, which is a plus, absolutely a plus. That's what I said, with menopause. I think it's important to point out that on this journey of menopause, they are positive stuff, and definitely not having to shave or wax is definitely a huge plus. So, but do your research, ladies. Talk to your doctors, talk to your nutritionist, your hairstylist, talk to friends, and just get the answers that you need. I think that is so important. Get the answers that you need. Thank you, my love. Thank you, Roxanne, for giving us your time.
All right.
Yes,
And
Roxy, thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
all
Thanks, Nat.
right, ladies.
Have a
All
great day.
righty. You too, honey.
All right. Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Nikki. Bye.
Bye.